What up, what up? Hope everyone's doing well. It took a minute to get going this morning. Roger, GM. A lot of stuff to talk about. Obviously, the SEC appeal, but I do have some other stuff I definitely want to get into today. There's amendments going live. There's new amendments around the corner. A lot of amendments actually coming down the pipeline, which is cool. But yeah, we shall jump right into it. Let me just check the live streams real quick, make sure everything is functioning properly. I doubt it is. What up? Good to see everyone. That Deaton debate was good last night. Deaton, we'll have to check Polymarket. Miggles. Mr. Louvs. How's the girlfriend, Louvs? Thanks, Vase. Good to see you. Tracy. HK Todd. Sunday Slide. Good morning. Happy Friday, everyone. Louvs. Oh no. Real Boston XRP. Hey man, I better see you at the XRP Unleashed party. Oh, let's go over the let's watch the trailer for that. Watch the trailer for XRP Unleashed. I think you guys are gonna like XRP Unleashed is gonna be sick. This is gonna be sick. I'm really excited for this. They did a really good job with XRP Unleashed. Let me tell you that right now. Can't find the membership button is in the description of the video. Should be. Membership should be in the description of the video. 317 people in here already, guys. Thank you so much for joining me on this Friday morning. Take a second, go like the stream. Exit out of live chat. That helps a lot. Been doing a lot of live streams recently. They've been popping, so it's been a lot of fun to have some good stuff to cover here. The debate was awesome. Ed, good to see you. Good morning. Oh, Silver Days wants me to. Silver Days too suggested that I make some more people moderator. So I have to go back over that list delivered to me by Mr. Silver Days himself. Okay, I have to go into YouTube to do it. So let me toss some of those out. We'll take a look at exactly when XRP Unleashed is releasing. Good morning, everyone. Hope everyone's doing well. Good to see everyone. Cool. All right. Oh, did he? Did Scott say something? I never got an update on that. Did Scott say something when I sent everyone over there? That's cool. I'm going to have Scott. I'm going to convert Scott. Scott's a smart guy. I could get Scott to be an XRP guy. I just have to have a conversation with him. I'll have to get on Scott's show sometime, and that could be really interesting. Break down the case for XRP. Oh, cool. I'll have to check that out. Awesome. Cool. Let's take a look at this. Oh man, I had it on my screen. It looks like I lost it. Oh, here we go.
So I think you'll dig this as something that we made in the office on ETHgate. Gave a speech and they cashed it. And everybody recognizes that gentleman right there, Bill Hinman.
Bill Hinman came to the stand in 2018 and gave his famous speech where he declared that Ethereum wasn't a security. The SEC tried to allege that all sales of XRP were an unregistered securities offering.
December 21st, Brad Garlinghouse came out and basically informed the world that they were soon going to be sued by the SEC.
SEC is preparing to sue that crypto startup for selling unlicensed securities.
Can you explain your view of whether Ethereum is a security or not, but then why you believe that Ripple is a security?
We don't get involved in these types of public forums talking about any one project.
We believe current offers and sales of Ether are not securities transactions.
The SEC is trying to capture the digital asset space. They went after Ripple and specifically XRP is because it was the biggest threat to the incumbent banking and financial system.
You know, the United States government's probably the biggest bully in the world. I read the complaint and it was terrible news. People are going to lose money and people had their life savings in XRP. All right, welcome to Regulatory Capture 101, also known as ETHgate.
So guys, as you can tell, that thing is pretty badass. They blew it out of the water with the production quality, and it's gonna be good. I am in it at some point too, so excited to see that. Oh, Dave Nelson. Yep. I want to make Brian a mod too. Guys, if you're getting here early, make sure to smash that like button. We'll go jump into the SEC appeal in a minute. I just have to make sure I do my duties to Mr. Silver Days here. Massive shout out to Silver Days. Silver Days reached out to me last night and he asked for a couple people to be moderators. And when Silver Days wants something, we get it done. So Dave Nelson and I want Brian to be a moderator too. Cool. There we go. Awesome. Let's jump a bit into the appeal now. There are some really interesting things in this appeal. So the biggest fascinating thing was that the SEC didn't actually include what do you want to call it? The SEC didn't actually include the disgorgement. So that's interesting. I really thought the SEC would be including disgorgement in this, but the SEC chose not to put disgorgement in it. So this was pretty surprising. Not a lot of people thought that the SEC would be not going after the disgorgement part of this, but what we can see is that the SEC is in fact choosing not to go after disgorgement, which is pretty shocking. Jeremy Hogan said, I've never been so excited to get a C since I was in high school math. What is not being appealed? That is XRP is not a security. What is being appealed? Ripple sales of XRP on exchanges and the use of XRP as payment to employees. What I don't like, the SEC completely folded when it had the opportunity to actually try this case against Brad Garlinghouse in front of a jury. And now it's trying to bring those claims back to life. Chicken move, in my opinion. What I like, this appeal is about money. The injunction could change if Ripple were to lose, but only indirectly as to order compliance. Okay. I think I finally understand what that means. So Jeremy Hogan saying that, like, they could, as to order compliance. I still want to wrap my head around a bit more exactly what that means, but it sounds like Jeremy Hogan is under the assumption that there's pretty limited damage the SEC could do on an appeal here. And it's really more about, like, what's the fine going to be and what does Ripple need to register moving forward, rather than anything that could potentially do any real damage to the business itself. Anyone from Italy? Oh, are there any Italians here? It's always so cool getting to see, like, people from all around the world joining these chats. Everyone's got a different perspective, so I absolutely love that part about this. Hold up. So let's see what else we got in terms of the appeal. Jeremy Hogan did a pretty good job of it last night, but there were some other comments on it. So Metal Law Man pitched in on this. He said Ripple appeal update. The SEC has filed Form C a day late in my view. The SEC is appealing summary judgment ruling on Ripple's XRP sales through exchanges, Ripple's distribution of XRP to employees and others, Brad Garlinghouse and Chris Larson's XRP sales. This was expected. Mildly surprised they did not appeal the $0 disgorgement penalty. So Crypto Law actually responded to this. They said the SEC dropped the opportunity for the district court trial on aiding and abetting allegations for Brad Garlinghouse, and now they want to appeal it, which is pretty ridiculous. So the SEC literally dropped the charges against Brad Garlinghouse and Chris, and now are resurfacing those charges, which is insane. So they pretty much said, yeah, sorry, yeah, we're letting you off the hook for this. We're not really off the hook, but we're not going to challenge this anymore because it was a ridiculous charge. And now what's happening is the SEC is now trying to rehash those charges. So that's about as SEC as it gets right there. Drop the charges, pretty much say, you know what, we're moving past this one specific issue, and then rehash it and go right back after them. So that is pretty ridiculous right there. But that's what we're dealing with. That's what we get with this agency. Daniel Ranger, good to see you. Daniel, did we change your sleep schedule here? Daniel, the last I heard from you, you said this time was too early, and then ever since there, you've been here every single day. Good to see you, Daniel. Always love to have you in the chat. On the 17th, they said they would appeal, but backdated the document to the 16th. Yeah, that's another funny thing here. So there's not a lot of so I don't know if we have proof here. I think we have proof here. There is some people trying to offer up some explanations on how it could not be backdated, on what could have happened here if the SEC was in fact not backdating. But this is what we got here. So the SEC on their specific document here, as you can see, date October 16th. So this is the date the SEC put on their filing. But if you take a look at where it was entered into the system entry is on the 17th. So the SEC said, oh, shoot, we forgot to file this. Let's hurry up and amend the document. There is definitely some funny comments around this, but from my understanding, which people are not going to like, but from my understanding, people seem to think the SEC gets away with that. I am not a fan of the fact that the SEC would get away with that, but that is the common view here. I haven't seen a lot of people coming out and saying that they think that this won't be an issue for the SEC. So, or this will be an issue for the SEC. If the judge allows a late submission, no, I don't think that's necessarily unfriendly towards Ripple and XRP. It would be like a pretty shocking thing for the judge to shut down the SEC for coming in a day late. It's just going to be frowned upon. It's just going to be a bad look. Like the SEC might get asked like, "Hey, why were you a day late?" But like as a government agency, it's just like it would be shocking for the courts to say, "Oh, sorry, you're a day late. Your entire appeal is now invalidated." I mean, don't get me wrong. That's what I would love to happen, but I just don't think that's realistic. I think the Second Circuit of Appeal says, all right, well, why were you late? And then the SEC makes up some excuse. They'll say, oh, like our filing system was down or something like that, or like one of our attorneys is out. And then the judge will say, okay, well, moving forward, everything needs to be on time, and the appeal goes through. So I don't know. It's hard for me to see anything much more happening than that. And as I've stated, I want much more to happen than that. I don't think the SEC should be allowed to get away with that. But the fact of the matter is we are dealing with an agency who will just lie about it. The SEC will say the dog ate the paperwork. Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what we're dealing with here. RPM, the bank holiday doesn't factor in. The bank holiday doesn't factor in. Guys, there's not a single attorney who thinks that the SEC wasn't late. Every single attorney out there thinks the SEC was late. It's not a debate. The SEC was late. But the question is what's the implication of that? It's a simple fact. The SEC was late. Not a single Meta Law Man, Jeremy Hogan, Jerry, attorney Fred Rispoli, Stuart Alderati, Ripple's entire legal counsel, David Schwartz. So there's a debate on whether or not Trump can be fired. Trump can fire Gary Gensler. There's a debate on whether Trump can fire Gary Gensler, but it doesn't really matter. It doesn't really matter if Trump can fire Gary Gensler or not, because he can still make it so Gary Gensler is heavily incentivized to leave the agency. So think about it this way, right? If I had an employee, right, and say I really wanted that employee gone, and say I couldn't fire him, I needed to make him quit. I can think of a lot of ways I can make an employee quit, right? There's a lot of things I could do to make that guy's life hell, and he'll just get out. So, look, that's what Trump could ultimately do. He doesn't really need to, per se, fire Gary Gensler. Yeah, XRP as a security is not being appealed. That's a pretty big win. It just comes down to how Ripple sold and distributed XRP. That's like the big thing for debate here. We can argue about the importance of that and the significance of that, but you Americans must know who's really leading in the polls. What do you mean by that? Isn't their president for the SEC already lacking a faithful allegiance to law? No, there's definitely it's definitely a bad look for the SEC to submit these documents late, but like the question at hand is like, is that enough to have the entire appeal dropped? Good point, Daniel. Daniel says, yes, Trump can fire a non-elected official. He fired the defense secretary. Yeah, holiday counts. Absolutely. I forget what I was just talking about. There's something else I want to take a look at Polymarket on John Deaton's odds. Well, yeah, this is the issue. Yeah, not much has really changed here. According to Polymarket, John Deaton has a 4% chance, and Elizabeth Warren has a 96% chance. So I saw this massive plummet the other day. This right here, we had this massive spike down, but it looks like that was more of a Polymarket glitch. The problem with Polymarket is it's like so illiquid. If I came in and was like really bullish John Deaton was going to win, I could like eat up the entire order book and instantly take that over. Here is Trump versus Kamala. So we now have Trump at about a 60% chance and Kamala at a 39% chance. This is ultimately probably the most important thing for crypto moving forward. This specific race here. John Deaton as well, but obviously John Deaton is going to be a little bit more of a surprise. Put it that way. Everyone's calling Mark Cuban a lesbo now because he dressed so funny for one of his interviews. Mark Cuban is destroying his reputation. It's pretty funny to watch. What did Sooner say? Sooner, the problem is they will still have 3 Democrats on the commission. Not if Gary Gensler won't stay. I don't think. I think if Trump is elected, he will get rid of any Obama and Biden people still around. Yeah, I would say the vast majority of them. I mean, I'm sure there's got to be someone in there who's not that bad. So most of them, yeah. I mean, a lot of them are bad. If you look at like Mayorkas, he's terrible. If you look at Gary Gensler, he's terrible. Lena Khan isn't great, but I don't necessarily despise her. She's got a tough job. She's not letting any mergers and acquisitions through, but at the same time, like, she's lost every case, and her kind of thing is like, we're going to provide pushback on most things, which, I mean, it's not good, but it's not as bad as what's happening with Gary Gensler. Put it that way. Brian, thank you so much for helping out. Yeah, there was a lot of I think Trump was a little too trusting of some of them last time. That's like my biggest critique of Trump. Like, my biggest critique of Trump is like he seems very willing to trust people he shouldn't if those people will like flatter him to his face. So like, he was definitely like, I felt like a little too close to people like Fauci, just because like they were like played nice with him, you know. It's one of my bigger critiques. Also, from what I'm hearing, this world liberty thing could not be good either. From what I'm hearing, world liberty could not be good. I'm seeing a lot of people post some bad things about world liberty, so we'll see how that turns out. Maybe I'll be wrong there. But definitely some red flags being raised about world liberty. Jump over here quick. Let's see what's going on in the news.
Local administration. I don't think anyone expects that another party other than Israel, perhaps in cooperation with an Arab country, say the UAE, provides security within and around Gaza. Israel is not going to give up security responsibility.
Jump over here quick. Let's see what's going on in the news.
Border between Gaza and Israel. Administration. I don't think anyone expects for security between Gaza.
Whoa. Oh, it's because I have what just happened? How did I get? I must have another stream open somewhere. Hold on, let me just fix this issue for you guys real quick. What's happened? Oh, there we go. All right, we're good. Take a look at this. This should be bad.
Is agreeing to voter ID one of those compromises that you'd support?
I don't think that we should underestimate what that could mean. Because in some people's mind, that means, well, you're going to have to Xerox or photocopy your ID to send it in to prove you are who you are. Well, there are a whole lot of people, especially people who live in rural communities, who don't, there's no Kinko's, there's no Office Max near them. People have to understand that when we're talking about voter ID laws, be clear about who you have in mind and what would be required of them to prove who they are. Of course, people have to prove who they are, but not in a way that makes it almost impossible for them to prove who they are.
Is agreeing to voter ID.
Wow. That's ridiculous. That is, oh my God. Yeesh. How could you? That's insane. Absolutely insane. Yo, what is that? I need to. It's so hard. Mickle, what's going on with the DXY still moving up? Well, Daniel, it's really just because we haven't had the rate cuts in a while. The market's like trying to get like optimistic that the market's just forgetting the fact that interest rates are coming down. We'll pop it open real quick. Wow, the dollar has made a huge move upward. Huge move upward. I didn't realize it was this big. I guess I slept on this for a minute. Let's take a look at this. Here's the dollar. Making a very big move upwards. Still within this range. I don't think there's any way we break out the top, but obviously we have some substantial chop here. Guys, we need to understand that a lot of the mainstream media, like if I put on CNBC right now, they would still be talking about how rates need to stay higher for longer. So I just don't think a lot of people are convinced yet that the rates are going to come down and the dollar will come down with it. It's like a lot of people are still resisting the idea that's going to happen. The sentiment I constantly hear on CNBC, which is so funny, is why would we lower rates? The economy's doing well. And it's so funny because you're not supposed to raise rates just to kill the economy. Imagine if every single time the United States economy was doing good, we raised rates to slow down the US economy, right? That doesn't make any sense, right? The economy can do good. Like there's nothing wrong with the economy doing well. So every single time the economy's doing well, we can't just that's a crazy comment, Daniel. Every single time the US economy is doing well, the answer isn't let's start jacking up rates. The problem at hand here is that inflation was high. But if we take a look at inflation, and this is the more important thing here, inflation is going away. According to the Federal Reserve. I always have to say that. Inflation is going away according to Federal Reserve numbers. So inflation is now at 2.4%. And let's just take a look at a historical average of what inflation looks like, right? Like, I'm curious, does anyone look at this chart right here? According to the Federal Reserve, Like, is it possible to look at this chart and say, yes, inflation is dramatically out of line in comparison to where it should be? Like, in my opinion, you can't look at this chart and come to that conclusion. I just don't see how you could. So that's my biggest thing with this whole inflation story. It's like, I'm trying to edit my screen here and I can't get it to break. Come on. All right, whatever. Do it later. That's the biggest thing. It's like inflation is in that range. Like, inflation is absolutely in that range. So I just don't see why we would expect interest rates to stay high. To me, they just have to come down. There's no other way around it. Sorry, guys, just making a couple back end, trying to reformat my screen a little better. This new software I'm using for live streaming is like really good, and then it's like really bad at the weirdest times. It's just not letting me shrink the size of the screen, which is very annoying. That look like. All right, there we go. Yeah, so inflation is clearly in this range. Clearly in this range. And, you know, this is what the Federal Reserve is supposed to be looking at in terms of those inflation numbers. So if inflation is in this range, right, then the Federal Reserve has no reason to keep interest rates high. No reason to keep interest rates high. And let me just add one more piece to this equation, right? Let's take a look at U.S. interest rates. And this should finish off the story for you guys. This should tell the rest of the story. Take a look at United States interest rates. They do the same pattern every time. Like, this isn't new. They jack up the rates, and then the rates fall off a cliff. They jack up the rates, and then the rates fall off the cliff. They jacked up the rates, and now the rates are at the point where they're going to fall off a cliff. Like, it's the same story over and over again. The only reason why they brought interest rates up to 5% was because look at where inflation was. Inflation was all the way up here. This is where inflation was a big problem. Like, they had to jack up interest rates because this is where inflation was way outside of this 100-year trend. But now we're back within this 100-year trend, and the rates need to reflect that. So I believe that will be factored into the dollar. And as interest rates come down, you are going to see people flee the dollar. It's just not something that happens quick. It's not something that happens quick. It takes a long time. The Federal Reserve makes an interest rate move, what, like once a month, once every 2 months? So it's not going to be a situation in which this number comes back down. And it still starts coming down meaningfully. We're just going to keep having these discussions about where things are going to go. Anyone see Trump at Al Smith's dinner last night? No, I didn't see that clip. Is it funny? Let me see if I can pull it up. All right. Well, we just got a new agenda. I didn't realize this happened. Let's take a listen to this. If it's good, we'll stick with it. If it's not, we'll jump off. You guys let me know what you want here. But there's not really that much other interesting stuff unless you guys want to listen to Jim Cramer. I would say probably not. So let's take a listen to this real quick.
Well, thank you very much. It's an honor. And they told me under no circumstances are you allowed to use a teleprompter. And I got up here and I see this is beautiful teleprompter. So here I am. But it is a tremendous thing. It's a tremendous dinner. I've come here with my father. So it was 3 times, but it was also many times before that, a long time ago. And it's a very special dinner. And you've done a fantastic job, Cardinal. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. So I'd like to thank Your Eminence very much, and members of the clergy, so many people I know. Speaker of the House Johnson, what a job you're doing. He's done a great job. Senator Schumer, good. Yeah, I supported him. I don't know. I don't know. He used to say that's true, and now I'm not sure he would, but I gave him his first check from an office in Beach Haven, and I was very proud of it. I don't know about lately. Now it was his first check. He was running, and I said, he's a good man. Senator Gillibrand, thank you very much. Thank you very much for working hard. Governor Hochul, wherever you may be up, this is a big day, right? Where is the governor? Good job. It's not an easy one, is it? But you're doing all right. We have to get a little money from the federal government, I have to tell you. It's about time. It's about time. Mayor Adams, good luck with everything. They went after you. They went after you, Mayor.
Oh, wow, that's brutal.
Yeah, boy, I do that. 9.5 months ago, I said, he just said something about the administration. He's going to be indicted any moment. And guess what happened? But you're going to win. I think you're going to win. I know you're going to win. So good luck. Good luck. I don't like what they do. I don't like what they do. And also distinguished, got so many friends up here. It's great. A lot of great friends. Some of my best friends. And you are right. They are distinguished and they are wealthy for the most part. A couple are having a hard time, but they're going to get over it. I also want to thank my very beautiful wife, and thank you for mentioning, but can you believe this? She did a book, and it's a really good book, and she worked hard on it, and it just became #1 on the New York Times list, so I think that's okay. That's not an easy thing to do, especially when your name is Trump and you're on the New York Times list. That must be selling like hotcakes. But thank you for mentioning. I appreciate it. Good job you did. It's a true pleasure to be with you this evening. Amazing pleasure. And these days it's really a pleasure anywhere in New York without a subpoena for my appearance. Anytime I don't get a subpoena, I'm very happy. They've gone after me, Mr. Mayor. You're peanuts compared to what they've done to me. And you're going to be okay. But I have to be careful, however, to understand that this will be the first time in the history of this event where jokes will be fact-checked, and they will be. And they will be. It's been a long tradition for both Democrat and Republican candidates for President of the United States to attend this dinner. It's a rule. You got to go to the dinner. You got to do it. Otherwise, bad things are going to happen to you from up there. You can't do what I just saw on that screen. But my opponent feels like she does not have to be here, which is deeply disrespectful to the event, and in particular to our great Catholic community. Very disrespectful. The last Democrat not to attend this important event was Walter Mondale, and it did not go very well for him. He lost 49 states and he won 1, Minnesota. So I said, there's no way I'm missing it. Actually, it was not easy for me to get here tonight. Because I wasn't going to miss this thing, no matter, I didn't care. I wasn't going to miss it. But that's true. Walter Mondale, 49-1. He was expected to do well, and it didn't work out. It shows you there is a God. I mean, for those people that are questioning it. I understand the real reason that she's not here is she's hunting with her running mate, spending a lot of time hunting. In any event, it's a weird. You know the word weird. They call me weird. They call JD weird. We're very solid people. This guy is calling us weird, but this was weird that the Democrat candidate is not here. And with
I love how like nothing really gets to Trump, and then they call him weird and like fest thrown him off for months. And the way he says weird makes it even better. He's like, they call me and JD weird. It's so funny.
This tonight, I want to also congratulate somebody's going to make us all healthy. RFK Jr. We love you. I don't see him. He's campaigning all over the place. He's campaigning. You're all over. Hello, you both. Nice to see you both. You're doing a good job. He's a great guy too. He really is. He's going to make us a healthier place. We're going to let him go wild for a little while. Then I'm going to have to maybe rein him back. Because he's got some pretty wild ideas, but most of them are really good, I think. He's a good man, and he believes the environment, the healthy people. He wants healthy people. He wants healthy food, and he's going to do it. He's going to have a big chance to do it because we do need that. I would not have missed the Al Smith dinner for anything in the world. I still remember coming here as a very young guy with my father, Fred. He was a great guy, my father. He was a tough cookie, but he had a very big heart. He was, anytime we'd walk down the street, and you don't see it too much anymore, there'd be people standing with tin cans, and he would always take out $100 and put it in that can. And I always thought it was beautiful. And frankly, I even think more so now it was beautiful, because nowadays you don't see it so much. But I miss him, and we used to come here very religiously. And a great New York tradition has been born 79 years ago. It was born 79 years ago, and there are some people that were here for almost that length. I know many of them, and it's not a pretty picture. Not a pretty picture. The two candidates for president are supposed to exchange good-natured barbs, and you know we get along very well. I didn't like Biden very much, and now I like him quite a bit. You know, and now I say that she's much worse than him. He was a much better candidate than her, actually. And when we hopefully win, dispose of her, I like her a lot, but right now I can't stand her. It's true. I can't stand her. I've never liked people that I was competing against. When you do, a lot of bad things happen. And we are doing well. By the way, the votes are starting to come in. You got to get out and vote. And Catholics, you got to vote for me. Just remember. You better remember I'm here. And she's not. I could have done that too. But you do something that's incredible. The Catholic Church, you're helping the poor, educating children, and supporting the vulnerable. But if you really wanted Vice President Harris to accept your invitation, I guess you should have told her the funds were going to bail out the looters and rioters in Minneapolis, and she would have been here, guaranteed she would have been here. Guaranteed. She would have been okay. She would have been okay with that. But I know this isn't my normal crowd tonight, because it just isn't. It's not my normal crowd. Believe me, my normal crowd is younger, has a lot more energy. But you have certain advantages too, like cash, lots of cash. But many of you are Manhattan liberals from the media and the Democrat Party. I always say the Democrat, you know, Chuck doesn't like that. He likes Democratic, and it sounds much more beautiful, the Democratic Party. I always say the Democrat Party because it sounds worse. It is true. He likes Democratic. Why don't they just change the name? This way, you know, it is Democrat. But I must say I was shocked when I heard that Kamala was skipping the Al Smith dinner. I'd really hoped that she would come, because we can't get enough of hearing her beautiful laugh. She laughs like crazy. We would recognize it any place in this room, and all polls are indicating I'm leading big with the Catholic vote, as I should be, But I don't think Kamala has given up yet. She hasn't. Instead of attending tonight, she's in Michigan receiving communion from Gretchen Whitmer. That's not a pretty sight. But Catholics, please don't be too insulted by Kamala's absence. If the Democrats, he says, thank you very much, I appreciate it. If Democrats really wanted to have someone not be with us this evening, they would have just sent Joe Biden. You know, he's having second thoughts, you know that, right? He wants to come back. If she does any worse in the polls, they're going to bring him back again, I think. Chuck, he's going to do it. He's the one that got him out. That's the guy. Much more so than Crazy Nancy, I will tell you. Because I know him. He did it. Joe has almost disappeared from view. The only way he could be seen less is if he had a show on CNN. They hate nothing. They've got nothing. Fake news, right? Fake. That term wasn't good. You know, they say that term is no longer in vogue because it's much worse than fake. I don't want to tell you what the real name is. I won't do it because all those cameras would shut off immediately. They don't like that. But apparently Joe didn't think it was fair for me to have the podium to myself with Kamala skipping the event. So he called, looked at me, and said, don't. Does anybody understand that? Yeah. I thought it was actually very good until just now. It was announced this morning that at a funeral yesterday, in a rare moment of clarity, Joe told Barack Hussein Obama that, quote, only a few people got that. Or as Rush Limbaugh used to say, Barack Hussein Obama, remember? He was a piece of work, we miss him. But as he told Barack Hussein Obama, quote, she's not as strong as me. She's not as strong. Do you understand that? And Obama agreed, saying, that's true. Other than that, I think the Democrats are getting along quite well. Right? Nobody got that one. The fact is, we need new leadership in this country. Right now, we have someone in the White House who can barely talk, barely put together two coherent sentences, who seems to have mental faculties of a child, it's said. There's a person that has nothing going, no intelligence whatsoever, but enough about Kamala Harris. Let's get on to something else. I know Kamala's word because she spends a lot of time complaining. I won't agree to another debate. But the truth is I've debated twice this year, once against Joe Biden and once against David Muir of ABC. That was amazing, 11 times. None for the other side. Do you think that's fair news? I don't think so. That's fake news. I don't know what's going to happen 3 weeks from now. It's going to be very interesting. It just started. It's actually, isn't it sort of exciting? Right? It really, isn't it just exciting what's going on? It's a process. It's a rough process, too. Not so pretty, and yet sometimes very beautiful. But the press is reporting the Democrats are starting to panic. They're panicking. They are panicking because, you know, the votes that are coming in very, very strong a certain way. I won't tell you what way that is, but Chuck Schumer is here looking very glum. Doesn't he look glum? He looks glum. But look on the bright side, Chuck, considering how woke your party has become. If Kamala loses, you still have a chance to become the first woman president.
Oh my God.
And actually, I said,
what?
Do you mind if I...
Yo, what? That was great.
Considering how woke your party has become, if Kamala loses, you still have a chance to become the first woman president. And I actually said, do you mind if I do that? He said, no, you got to do what you got to do. He's a pro. He's a professional. No, He's a good man, actually. I hate to say it. Don't ever use it against me, please. They'll say, this dinner was really setting me back when I say that. But I've known him a long time. There's a group called White Dudes for Harris. Have you seen this? White Dudes for Harris. Anybody know? Are some of you here? White Dudes for Harris? Doesn't sound like it. But I'm not worried about them at all because their wives and their wives' lovers are all voting for me. Every one of those people is voting for me. And as you may have seen, Kamala did an interview on Fox News yesterday. It went so poorly for her that the Democrats have been forced to install another 100 drop boxes throughout the city. And the upside really is Kamala now sees the benefit of deportation. She wants to deport people. She's vicious. She wants to deport people, and she wants to start by deporting Bret Baier, Fox. It's an interesting interview last night. Huh? A major issue in this race is child care, and Kamala has put forward a concept of a plan. A lot of people don't like it. The only piece of advice I would have for her in the event that she wins would be not to let her husband, Doug, anywhere near the nannies. Just keep them away. That's a nasty one. That's nasty. I told these idiots that gave me this stuff, that's too tough. Oh, I did, you know, they told me the last time I did this, I was running against Crooked Hillary. And, I mean Hillary. No, I was running against Crooked Hillary and I did it. And I thought it was a roast. So I was told it's a roast. And I had the meanest guy you've ever seen write stuff up. And man, was the room angry. Even the Cardinal remembers. I went overboard. Don't you agree, Cardinal? It was like terrible. And I knew I was in trouble around midway through because, you know, people are not, even my own side was angry at me. They were saying, it's too much. But I did it anyway. I didn't give it. Campaigning can take a toll on a family and family life, although I hear that Kamala and her husband carve out some really beautiful alone time at the end of the day for an intimate dinner, just Doug, her, and a teleprompter that she uses quite well. And by the way, she wouldn't have liked this tonight if she was told about no teleprompter. I can't believe I saw a teleprompter. They said they've never had a teleprompter in the history of this dinner. I told that to the Cardinal, right? And then a teleprompter pops up for, he must be a very important comedian to get that. They give you one, but not me. How about that one? Huh? Come here. Yeah, and you did a good job. Tradition holds that I'm supposed to tell a few self-deprecating jokes this evening. So here it goes. Nope, I've got nothing. I've got nothing. There's nothing to say. I guess I just don't see the point of taking shots at myself when other people have been shooting at me for a hell of a long time and they shoot hard. You know, they say about presidents, they say that Andrew Jackson was the president that was the most meanly treated. His wife died. She died of heartache. She was heartbroken at the way they treated him. And they say that second was Abraham Lincoln, but he was in charge of a civil war, you know. So, but those were the two, Andrew Jackson.
Yo, hold on. What is this guy, like, what is his problem? He's becoming a very strange color over the course of this thing. And I don't think he's moved yet. He's just sat there and slowly turned more red. Yo, what is wrong with that guy? Like, he started off a normal color and he's just progressively gotten more red, but he actually hasn't moved yet. He's just slowly turned more red.
Jackson. Up until me, now they say it's not even close. There's never been a president that's been treated so badly as me, and our people aren't happy about it. But I was treated a little bit rough. But I don't mind it somehow, and I think it's just part of the game. I'd like to thank our MC this evening, Jim Gaffigan. Most recently, Jim has been playing Tim Walsh on Saturday Night Live. And that'll be a very short gig, I hope, Jim. But it was fun while it lasted, wasn't it? Let's see how that lasts. It better be quick. we don't want him, and I'm not going to say anymore. But unfortunately, Governor Walz isn't here himself, but don't worry, he'll say that he was. He's going to say he was. I used to think the Democrats were crazy for saying that men have periods, but then I met Tim Walz. The stupid show, The View, is so bad now that the other day I was watching it and thinking to myself, you know what? They really need to bring Rosie O'Donnell back. That show is bad. Those people are bad. I know every one of them, and they are bad news, I want to tell you. And it doesn't do very well either. I always like to say, ratings are very important. When they don't do well, it doesn't do very well. As I look around the dais, I see all of the usual suspects. For instance, Mayor Adams. I'd like to poke some fun at Eric, but I'm going to be nice. I just want to be nice because I know what it's like to be persecuted by the DOJ for speaking out against open borders. We were persecuted, Eric. I was persecuted, and so are you, Eric. The mayor's dietary restrictions are well known, but I've got to say I've never met a person who's a vegan who liked turkey so much. There's something about him with turkey. I just found that out today. I haven't been in New York that much. Don't let it, but you're going to win, Eric. We have another former New York City mayor with us, frankly, easily the worst in our history. And it's not Michael, that I can tell you. I'm surprised that Bill de Blasio was actually able to make it tonight, to be honest. He was a terrible mayor. I don't give a shit if this is comedy or not. He was a terrible mayor. He did a horrible job. That's not comedy, by the way, that's fact. But unlike the rest of New York, at least Bill doesn't have to worry about the criminals. They owe him big. He let them get away with a lot of stuff. Well, I'd better wrap up because Mayor Adams told me earlier that I needed to make this one very quick, especially the city has reserved this room for a large group of illegal aliens coming in from Texas. That's right, they've reserved many rooms, a lot of rooms, too many rooms. But in all seriousness, it's an honor to be here to support the city and the community. It's a great community that I love. I've been here a long time and I love it. And then it's going to make a big comeback, and I'm going to help it make a comeback. I'm going to win, and I'm going to make a comeback. We're going to turn this thing around. And I want to pay tribute to a really incredible man, a man who was a tremendous politician. And actually, the fact that he was Catholic it probably did him in, right? Nobody knows for sure. But he was a great guy, Al Smith, great guy. Everyone says it, happy warrior. I've said before that I'll say it again as many times as I have to, directly to the mayor and the governor. If I have the honor to be elected next month, we're going to see what happens. It's happening so fast, but if I have the honor, I look forward to working together to make this city greater than ever before. We're going to do that. We're going to be focused on it. I'll work with the governor. I'll work with the mayor, Democrats. I will work with them. I work with whoever I have to, and we will even work very hard to bring back the SALT tax deduction. We're going to bring it back. We're going to bring it back. We're going to get that thing going, Chuck, okay? I actually thought about not doing jokes tonight. I was going to come out here and say, listen, our country is doing very badly. This is not about jokes. And then some person said, you have to do jokes. I said, I don't want to. There's nothing funny about what's happening to our country. And I actually meant that. I was going to do that. But they convinced me to say some of the things I said tonight. I don't know if they were funny or not, but hey, you think this is easy standing up here and doing this? In front of half a room that hates my guts and the other half loves me? Half of us love me. Well, maybe it's, I think 75% love me. But I actually do. I did think about that, and our country is doing very badly with respect to its open borders and inflation, crushing things happening in the Middle East and Ukraine. It's so sad to see what's happening in Ukraine. Wow. I had a lot of people very religious people come up to me tonight from Ukraine, and they're asking me for help. So sad to see so many people have been killed in Ukraine, and we're going to get it settled up if we win. As I'm president-elect, I'm going to get that done. I'm going to do it before we ever get back. We have to get it stopped. Too much killing. It's killing, and all of those cities are coming crashing down, those beautiful golden domes.
All right, guys, I got to jump. That was hilarious. There wasn't much to cover today, but I mean, you know, if Kamala was there, we'd cover hers as well, but apparently she didn't want to show up. Most of the jokes are over. Awesome. Guys, I have to jump anyway. Guys, thank you so much for coming. A little bit of a detour. Happy Friday. That was hilarious. Thank you for the recommendation.